Well, here we are. This is Conversations at Kerrie's Corner, and I'm Kerrie. How are you today on this Wednesday, the first day of no government? It has been shut down. That's what we're going to talk about today. Thanks for joining me here at Conversations at Kerrie's Corner. This is what we do here at this podcast. We talk about specific things that are going on in our country, our world, our neighborhoods, our homes, our families, any of the challenges that we all face on a daily basis, basically. And today I want to talk about this subject because I find it unacceptable, to be really honest with you. I don't know how we live in the most powerful, wealthiest country in the world, and we have a government shutdown because our leaders cannot work together. Because they can't balance the budget. Because they can't be civil to each other and work with each other. And I'm fed up. I'm sick of it. I am tired of listening to it. I'm just tired of the whole thing. And I think as citizens of this country, it's imperative that we all start demanding accountability from our leaders. All of them. Not just one side, both sides. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think that looks like. But before we get into that, Conversations at Kerrie's Corner, why do I do this? Because I want us to talk to each other. By the way, grab a drink. This is an iced coffee. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's have a little bit of a conversation while we drink a cup of joe. This happens to be a really nice cup of joe. It is a iced latte, but that's my treat for the day, if you will. So, talking about things that affect all of us in one way or another. My hope is that as we talk about it here on this, as I talk about it here on this podcast, that you will share the podcast then and share it with your circle of influence. And then so on and so on. So we can start dialogue. Because when we start dialogue, that's when we can make change. And we don't do that very effectively anymore in our society. We don't talk to each other appropriately in person and enough. And so we have this big, huge bridge between the parts of our society, and we're not doing a very good job of making sure that we are all staying connected. And so that's why I started this podcast, to encourage conversation, because when we have conversation, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Our history proves that anything is possible when we work together to work out our problems, when we are willing to listen to each other's point of view, when we are open to change. Anything is possible. Respecting each other's opinions. We don't have to agree. We just have to respect each other and agree to disagree if we can't agree. So, I am extremely disappointed on October 1st, 2025, after 9 completed months of a new presidency administration, that we have a government shutdown. Does it surprise me? No. Is it acceptable? Absolutely not. Should there be accountability for those who are causing this shutdown? Absolutely. Should it be a significant accountability? Yes, it should. Because we're losing that in our society across the board. People are finding that they're not accountable, that they can get away with whatever they want to get away with. And what is the society repercussions that say to them, no, you cannot do that? And that's what is wrong in our society, is there is no accountability. So here we are, 9 complete months into Trump's second presidency, and our government has ceased. So people aren't getting benefits. Children aren't getting benefits. Our veterans aren't getting benefits. Mothers, young mothers, single dads, young people, disabled people, our veterans. And that's inexcusable. I don't care what the political environment is to allow that to happen because of a political disagreement by one side and from one side to the other side is unexcusable in the United States of America in 2025. It just is. And frankly, I am upset with the entire mechanism of our government from the top down. That includes President Trump, and I am a Trump supporter. But I'm not happy about this. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable on his part because he has to do what he's doing now, and I get that. But he's also responsible because he's partaken in the rhetoric that is going on in this country. So there is accountability on his shoulders, just like there is on the left. There's accountability on both sides. There always is. There's always two sides to every story. I do feel like the left is out of control, and so they are the driving force behind all of this, but it doesn't matter because there are people tonight that don't have benefits. There are children tonight that probably won't eat in the United States of America. How in the hell does that happen? It's just inexcusable that happens in this country, the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world, and our leaders are acting like they are in junior high and high school. And it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace and an embarrassment that this leadership all the way around is like watching a junior high school argument between a girl and a boy and another girl because there's friction between the triangle. So here is my thought process on this. Every single Democrat that voted against this resolution, which was bipartisan, there is only one thing that they wanted for this to go through. They want to take my hard-earned tax dollars and yours, and they want to give it to health care for illegal aliens. Well, they're criminals. They came to the country, they violated the law the minute they got here because they came here illegally. They are criminals and they have no rights, period. Why would any American like me, a hardworking entrepreneur who has 3 companies, why would I be okay with my tax dollars being given to a criminal who's here illegally when Americans can't afford health care? When we're paying exorbitant amounts of money for health care? Why would I ever agree to that? Why would any American ever agree to that? Even if you're on the left, why would you agree to that? That doesn't even make any sense. All of those people who voted no are violating the American relationship with citizens. And what I mean by that is they are violating our trust. They're putting illegal aliens before Americans and those who are naturalized here or those here who are legally here. We do not matter. And that is not okay by our leadership. I don't care what day it is. I don't care what the circumstances are. You don't ignore the American people. The American people pay your salary. The American people voted you into office. And I'm telling you, this American wants you out of office because you are not taking care of business, because you have allowed this government to shut down. That is a complete failure of our governmental agencies from the top down. So I very much believe that it is time for the American people to sign a petition to change term limits, to make ethical violations strong enough that you lose your seat if you violate ethical standards. And these standards have to be strict. No more of this rhetoric, ever. No second chances. First violation and you're done. You're gone. You're out. Because I don't see another way that we, the people, can say to our leaders, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. So term limits, 4 years and done. That's it. No more. On both sides. Both sides of Congress. 4 years, maybe 6, depending on what the argument is, but that's it. And you're done. No more. Finished. No more 45-year political careers where they make millions and millions of dollars off the American people. That's just, that is just not acceptable anymore. So we have to decide on term limits. What do we want that to be? And I think once we make the determination, if we get enough people in this country to sign a petition saying that we the people want to put forth an amendment to change term limits, then I think the people need to get one representative from each state and meet in one place and brainstorm what that looks like, what that change looks like. And it needs to be Americans, not politicians, everyday Americans. One from each state. You hold some sort of process to make that available, whatever it may be, however you want to determine that. Or you use two, one for the House and one for the Senate. But we're not talking about politicians doing this. We're talking about everyday Americans getting together and working out what we think the changes for term limits need to be. And then we submit that and we put it through the process of making an amendment to the Constitution, because this has got to stop. This influence of money and lobbying where there's no conscience of what is doing right and wrong for the American public, because we're the ones suffering here, not them. They're multimillionaires, and that's got to stop too. You shouldn't be able to go to Washington and get a $200,000 salary and in 10 years be a multimillionaire. That's not okay. That is taking advantage of the situation on the American workers' back. And I'm not okay with that either. So that's got to stop. That's got to stop. So we got to figure out what that looks like as we the people. Then in this conversation of change, there needs to be a standard ethical contract for every single member of Congress, every single member of the administration, every single member in the government itself, the president, the vice president, the chief of staffs. There has to be a blanket standard code of ethics and conduct, and it has to be signed. And if they're not willing to sign it, then they don't get to do whatever it is that they do. It has to be part of the package of getting elected and signing it. And if there's violations, the violations have to be hefty. I mean, really hefty. I frankly think one and done. That's how I feel about it, because they've given this amazing opportunity to squander it because they can't control themselves. Then they shouldn't be there. That's how I feel about it. But I also know I have a very hard line when it comes to this, and that may or may not be feasible. So there has to be a code of conduct that is enforced, where fines are levied, where potential jail time is a possibility, and removal from office. There has to be. We have to have an end to this cycle of unaccountability from our politicians, because they're not suffering any of this. We are. Now, you can make an argument that President Trump has suffered and his family, and I will admit that, because of everything that they have been put through in the last 10 years. And we have to make sure that that never happens again. The way that we do this is by controlling the conduct of our Congress members heavily. And I think we have to do this quickly, or we're going to have this vicious cycle for the next 4 years of shutting down our government, people losing their benefits because these individuals who we have elected to run our government are failing their jobs. They are not getting it done. None of them. From where I sit, but especially those who vote to take our money and give it to criminals that are here illegally, which completely and totally turns the back on the American people. That can never be acceptable. It just can't. And we, the people, have got to make our displeasure with all of this louder. And the only way that I know how to even start this conversation is by doing a podcast, getting it out there, getting people talking about it, and then responding with ideas. Do we sign a petition? Do we do it on a state level? Do we do it on a national level? How do we do it? Because everybody in my community believes, like I do, that this has got to change. It has just got to change, or we are going to stay in this vicious cycle for, I don't know, years. We've been dealing with it for 10 years. So how do you feel about this? Are you even upset that the government is shut down? You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that just don't even know. And that's really too bad. That we have the government of the United States of America on October 1st, 2025 is not operating because the people that we elected to run our government can't work together enough to keep the doors open. I just find it absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I personally feel every one of those people who voted against the agreement yesterday needs to be removed from office because they are putting the welfare of Americans at risk. And how is that not domestic terrorism? Domestic terrorism is treason. So why are these people still in Washington today when they have done what they have done? How I feel about it. I'm just done. I'm over it. And I know so many of you out there are done too. So let's take this, send me back some suggestions, forward it to your friends and your circle of influence, ask them for suggestions, and then let's do something about it. Americans, when we work together, can move mountains. We know this. Right now in our history, this is a pivotal moment, and we, the people, need to move this mountain and get it fixed. Or else, the generations behind us, they're not going to have what we had. Or they're not going to see the kind of prosperity. They're not even going to have the opportunity to have it. If we don't figure out a way to get this crap under control in Washington with our leaders and get them working together. Let me know what you think. I really mean this. This is a very serious moment in American history, and we the people have to step up and make them understand we are not accepting this anymore. It has got to stop. I'm Kerrie, and I'm the owner of Conversations at Kerrie's Korner. I want to leave you, that's my clock in the background letting you know it's 6 o'clock. I want to leave you with a picture today. In the South, we have these beautiful diners. And you go in and they're beautiful colors, and there's chrome and they're spotless. And you walk in and you sit down at this bar and you see, people sitting at the bar. You sit down and you start to have a conversation. Have a glass of Coke or hamburger, coffee or pie. and you talk about what's going on. What's going on Main Street? What's happening in your state? What's happening in the school district? And you may not know anybody when you walk in the door, but 9 times out of 10, by the time you walk out the door, you've made a new friend, or you've made an acquaintance, or you've potentially heard something that's changed your opinion. We have to get back to that. We have to get back to talking to each other. Calmly, respectfully, intellectually, calmly, and accepting that we are not all going to agree. And just agree that respectfully, we're going to disagree. And not go to violence and hate and division and this horrible cancer that's on our society, this horrible cancer of hate and division and rhetoric that is slowly but surely strangling the American people. We've got to fix it, and we got to do it together. If we don't, I shudder to think where we'll be. I have grandkids. I want them to have what I had. I want their kids to have it. And we can't just ignore this anymore. We have to actively try to fix this problem, because obviously the people in Washington are incapable of it. And they are responsible to us. We put them there. We have to fix it. We the people. That's how the Republic works. So please share this. Start talking about it. And let's formulate a game plan of how to fix it. This is just a seed, and I'm planting it, and I'm hoping somebody along the way has an idea, or the moxie, whatever you want to call it, and run with this. Because we need it. More now than ever, we need to fix this problem. Because it's not going to get any better. And as long as we allow them to continue to act like this, they're like teenagers. They're going to do it every single time because they know they can get away with it. And it's got to stop. We cannot allow children in the United States of America, or a single mom, or a single dad, or a disabled person, or a disabled vet, to not get the services that they need because the people in charge can't get along. Have you ever heard of anything so asinine in your life? That's where we are this day, first day in October 2025, and it's just not okay. Let me know what you think. Please share, comment, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and let's take baby steps towards a solution so our amazing nation can continue to grow and prosper and be great again. Thanks for joining me today at Conversations at Kerrie's Corner. Many blessings. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you look forward to talking to you in the next podcast. Have a great day.